That was a cicada that scared me to death, and I dropped my phone and screamed. So I'm back. Pic'n Faith Farm here. This is Heather. Sorry for the disruption, but I hate cicadas. Back to what I was saying. This is a beautiful potato flower, which what this means is 2 weeks after this flowers, we will start to have potatoes we can harvest. They would be small at 2 weeks. Ideally a month from now, we will have a lot of potatoes out of this garden bed. But once the flowers start, you really start production underground. Oh, these cicadas, guys. I cannot. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Got me all confused. This is a bed full of corn. I have never had success with corn before this year. And what I did differently after reading a lot online was to soak my corn seeds. And it said to soak them in water for like 6 to 8 hours. I accidentally soaked them for like 2 days because I'm busy. And it didn't hurt them at all. Corn kernels are very hard and dehydrated when you try to plant them, and it takes a ton of water to get them going. They got going. I planted them very close just in case I didn't have good germination like my previous years, and they had great germination. Corn is wind pollinated, so the tassels get away from me. Not today, Satan. Stay away, cicadas. The tassels at the top, which is the top of the flower of the corn, and the silks that come out to make a corn cob. That is the male and the female portions of the corn. The tassels at the top are moved by the wind, or you walking through your corn bed and just using the back of a stick or a rake and gently moving them. That drops down pollen onto the silks, and if each silk has pollen dropped on it, that will be one kernel within the corn. So I'm learning. Corn is a learning curve for me, and I'm learning about it. So pretty awesome. Here, this is an example of a bed that I just found an old pack of seeds, and I did not soak them. So the germination in this bed is very, very different. And there again is squash at the end. Winter squash that will travel out. Next up is another. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction again. Getting confused. Going this way. It's been a long weekend. Just got home from work last night. Slept a little bit and back up at it again. Is my squash bed. Some of these squash I pulled up from that bean bed over there. They were growing where the other two were. I pulled up probably 5 and I replanted them in here, and they were so droopy and sad. I thought for sure they were going to die. They did not. This is them at the end that I pulled up. They did great. I don't have any squash growing yet that I know of, but probably by the end of this week. Get pickles, I swear. All right, lots of fungus in the bed. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. This means that your beds are healthy, your soil is healthy. So this is the squash bed. When I made these beds last year, oh God, another cicada. Oh, guys, I cannot. Yes, I'm a farm girl, but I hate cicadas. Anyway, when my family and I made these beds last year, we just filled them with compost that we got from the dump. So we took our friend's dump trailer, got a whole bunch of compost that's like $10 for many, many yards. Nope. And fill them up with compost. Everything did not do great last year. The soil was not great. So every time we would clean out the stalls for the horses over the winter, they would go directly in these beds. So it's made a big difference. This lower end of the bed, of this little bed, is just hot peppers. They're separated from the regular peppers, and then I had leftover onions, so they're in here as well. And I think I have another squash that's trying to come up, and I'm not going to let that one go. It will break over all of my onions, so that squash is going to be sacrificed. Here are tomatoes. These are much, much bigger than those over there because these are ones that I bought from the Amish nursery that I go to every year to get my tomato starts. They're all heirloom as well. You can seed save from these and you will have more of the same next year. However, I really want to get better at doing my own, but these are doing great. They're huge, and I have them attached to, yet again, step-in posts and cattle panels. They work way better than any tomato cage you will ever use. Those little tomato cages are just not sturdy enough for these massive, indeterminate tomato plants because they will grow 10 to 15 feet high if you let them. And here is a baby tomato. Around the tomato plants at the very base, I planted carrots. It's full of carrots in this bed. Because again, they are a root vegetable. They grow down. They won't take up any room. And the tomatoes grow up. And they really work well together. Look, he's trying to scare me. Cicada. Not today. Actually, yesterday. Lots of times been scared. These are a bunch of leftover tomato plants. And then I have all of those back there. I didn't show you guys those, but I have more tomato plants that I can shake a stick at that I need to find homes for. I don't want to waste. And a whole bunch of cucumbers still to plant. I had a lot of trouble getting my cucumbers to come up. It was just not warm enough for them. And then the strawberries took over and they couldn't get enough sun and moisture. So I just gave up and planted them by seed, and we'll put them out here now that they're starts. Moving right along to this tomato bed. More of the same. These are the tomatoes that I got from the Amish. I bought these off Amazon. This is my first year using these. They are tomato clips. This was a couple bucks for 200 of them. And they just clip together. And they hold the tomatoes right on the trellis. There, let me see. I already clipped all these up last week, but they probably need it again. They clip it right, can you see? Right to the cattle panel. And it holds them up nicely. This bed, I don't have much in it. I have 1 zinnia, 1 celery, and 5 eggplant. My family does not love eggplant, but I think we should grow as many things as we can and experiment if we can. This is all regular peppers. I do need to come in here this week and help all of them with some support. They're trying to flower, but they are not very strong. So I'm using these little plastic step-in posts that you can also get from any kind of ag store. And more of the same. I'm using them and clipping them, just like the tomatoes, to that little hook that normally, like electric string wire for animals would really go through. I'm using it to attach the pepper to it. Swear, this cat. Get out. Nope. Out of the garden. Zinnias in the corner. They will be beautiful down here. This is exciting for me, this bed right here in particular. This is a Adirondack blue potato bed, and you can tell by the blue color on the leaves. These are blue potatoes. They are so cool. They're not really great storage potatoes. Oh my God, cicada. But they're really, really, really pretty, and they're a cool thing to grow, and kids love to see stuff like this. This bed right here was just random odds and ends, a big weed, random odds and ends, green beans. And I keep planting more and more things as the weeks go on, because as I mentioned, these are bush beans, so these will flush out, give a good crop, and then kind of die off, and you'll have to have something to come behind it. So I will have pole beans. However, I also want to have more bush beans coming constantly. On these trellises are peas. They're only little snap peas, like sugar snap peas. I don't really love this variety. I think it was a Tommy Toe or something, some tiny heirloom variety. I'm not super impressed with, oh gosh. Not super impressed with the size. They're very squatty and not super prolific. This is another bed of potatoes. Doing amazing. Having that horse poop in here really made a big difference. These are better. These are much better size, much taller. I'm getting the production out of these a lot more. Oh, did y'all hear that? They just landed on me and screamed in my ear. Okay, carrying on. Carrying on. This is another smaller bed of potatoes we just had left over. Another archway of peas. Another bed of potatoes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beds of potatoes. More tomatoes. Now coming up here, this is the other side. I love my flag. I have this beautiful old, it's not an old flag, but it's like an old looking flag because I just think it's beautiful. Here are the teasing Georgia roses again. And they're built up into boxes with these posts. This little bed here is just more greens. Kale, spinach in the second. They're like, it's a tiered bed. And then the third tier is zinnias. I have some chard in here as well. This monster right here is, believe it or not, all mint. It's all mint. And mint can get out of control, so you want to give it its own space and trim it back. And sage, dill, basil, parsley, rosemary, chives, purple sage, cilantro that's bolting. Cilantro is not very heat tolerant, but I'm letting it go to seed and it can reseed for me. Here's thyme. Dill, more dill, and then this is oregano, which is a perennial as well and is super big. Here is more of the grapevines that we had mentioned are planted at every post. They're coming in here. Excuse me. Another grapevine. That one needs to be trained. And then the goat fencing, as you can see, that we were working on last week is all about 1.5 acres that way. Good morning, buddy.
Morning.
How are you?
Good.
Did you sleep well? I love you.
Love you.
This black tarped area. So the reason we have all this tarp, you could buy it on Amazon. It's very easy to use. It's not very expensive. We roll this out and then we burnt holes. For my Facebook friends, I put a video on earlier this week of the tool that we use to burn the holes. But you roll this out and you can burn holes in the plastic in specific areas so that you don't have weeds. And here's where all of our melons will grow. So they will have no competition with weeds. They will pop up through all of these holes and melons are on this end. That stump has a tomato that comes back every single year. So I just let it go because it's happy there. And it comes back every year. So who am I to mess with it? It's a yellow tomato. And then on this end, this was all just replanted before all of the rain this week, are all pumpkins. And all of these tree roots, stumps, it's because this was woods when we moved in. I have a picture that I can post of what it used to look like. All woods. So these will be covered soon. Abe, cicadas have been trying to attack me all morning. Don't like it. Don't like it. All of these rocks we found, and that's how we delineated the mulch area from the plastic area. And underneath all of this is that black plastic so that we don't get any weeds. And then all of this mulch is it's not mulch, it's wood chips, is from a tree company that they'll just drop off for free. So we've had so many loads delivered. So that is what's today? June 14th. So 1 month later and a few days past Mother's Day, and that is what our garden is doing. We haven't taken anything out yet other than strawberries to eat. We will, and greens, obviously. We will be taking blackberries this week and raspberries. They'll start coming in. And then we're just waiting for produce to start rolling in. And when it does, it's going to be a lot. What a beautiful day. All right, everyone. Let me think. I know there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, so to build these garden beds, you would just go to a lumber store and get 16-foot boards. I cut the ends. I cut the 16-foot boards 4 times. So you can make multiple beds out of a couple boards. Just screwed them in at the corners, filled them in with compost from a local dump, because if you buy bags at Home Depot or Lowe's, you're going to spend a ton of money. So you can just have compost or dirt delivered. And you just have to try to add organic matter. You can add leaves in the fall if you don't have animals, or you can fertilize with an organic plant tone or garden tone fertilizer in the spring. Or make your own compost from kitchen scraps in a compost tumbler, or just an area in your yard where you dump it all, and you can add that to your beds to feed them. But this is fairly easy to do. I know it looks overwhelming and unreachable, but it's not. You can do this. I can do this. You can do this. And if you don't have room for something like this, you can use plastic kiddie pools. You can use metal rings, fire rings that you buy at Tractor Supply. You can use grow bags that you can buy anywhere online. You just fill with dirt and put whatever you want in them, or you can grow right on your patio. So if anybody has any questions, I'm no expert, but I do have a deep love for this. If anyone has any questions and wants to know anything that I can help them with, or I'd even be down to come help you figure it out, or source resources, or where's the best place to put it, I can help you with that as well. Local friends, obviously. So that is our garden so far. I hope you all have a beautiful day. God bless.
Mommy.